Once again, good evening. Yeti for ni ahwefo baby amohwe yemfi ene anwumre ewo baby bia mowe. Michiamo medam asenso se motimi agebre na mo ne yen eba bedi time we. Some one name the Punchline and I made a bremo ewo Omashi TV no so. Ye from a Ken Reginald. So we tie radio now. Omashi. Over Facebook nso Omashi live on Facebook. So also na Omashi TV and also na Oshe yen. Baby a Oshe fibia once again medam wase. Some wetimi age a penny, some money yen be hwe boom. Then you so di ejumedi no nyina abremu ewo baby bia movie okono no den enra ano ye den pa ekoye nkosi antwe ampeninsie ani enkeka bensem amalifo no bediye nyina no at the end of 90 minutes no our Cross Sports Stadium, the nation number 1 Wembley, that's Ohinijan Sports Stadium, to be precise. The senior national team, the Blasters of Ghana, they were able to come out victorious against the Eagles of Mali. And then ye game one, ye adia abrewajo. It was tough, highly competitive game, I must say. And so share kwanya ye fast so edinya sa slim win margin na echire wo say omangana support nyina ana na ye the tie boys ye team na chi enra nese wani say obewa Cross Sports Stadium enra nsese meka chire but then wa want me ama no a wutie me a wo hwe me so no me botofa e de amaw no wa husenia akansi no ekoye impanimfo kuku dam ano modi Ghana football ati a cheye omo mbe PM Cross Sports Stadium and all hands was on decks to make sure say Ghana qualify for Mexico, Canada, USA 2026. Punchline and Amede Brem, your friend Ken Reginald. So Osha Jiku and a nya good in the mind. It was a corner kick, and the skipper of the side Jordan Ayu a ball corner no. It was a tailored measured corner. And a Jikuni goalkeeper, any players no more play ball, no pin ball no. I must say he poked his head to the ball, and the ball na share atmosphere no crowd. And this is the na sports Cross Sports Stadium more a budget so this is did the need G no beka se rapture. Hey, tama go ni buy no. Na me te commentary box ni me da che hene kwabna mo aben. And a senior journalist, your friend say, Kwame Sefa, oh, Fifi Bansen, me Fifi Bansen, come na poku, Mr. Jambra, and I will ne online. So now, she said you be a sorry, Wakunane so, and the force I G go, so now, no, say, Ghana, yeah, what? The next World Cup will be episode could be you. It is a oh, yeah, Ghana qualify, I don't know. It's in your person. Oh yeah, in the war is so you know. I said by this time most 30 years and because America for almost say almost some plan bia said your move vessel no no and one sa no you have to book dates, you have to book an interview, you have to do all those things. And it's the right time. As I said, we do what is so yeah or start here. Ghana your 9 back right leg, you know. You see Mexico, Canada and USA. If you say too much is akano, you bet me at least 3 points. Now, if you emerge as group leaders, now you come at the acquire news answer. But me can be them. In fact, your team my boy and ram. It was so bad. Though we won the game, it was very bad. And Otuado Sabita Fache, Mofan Cheme, Wabon. Coach wa bomba ku Ghana ayako fana dia babe ye blaster coach ni Utuwado wa bonse hwe o bobo Ghana ye ni Mali e wa Cross Sports Stadium o bo back o bo Jiku o bo Salisu o bo Ajei aden ye bo home e wa yankasa ye home ground Cross Sports Stadium o bo 5 back Caliprenchi on the right hand side, Gideon Mensah on the left hand side, Jiku, Salisu, Anna, J and I was about 2 midfielders, Zibu, Kwesi, as orthodox number 6 sitting in front of the back 5. And Thomas Taipate, no, by the link up between attacking lineup and the central midfield, no. Or no, so close behind Zibu on center cycle, no. And then what park bus against Mali? Then the Okoshia, Portugal, and England, and Germany is sure. Now, Quack, hey, me. Adi amen penny say ubi ye adwuma no be kase ye mpam no enye me style no ba otuado onye obi odi ye nko World Cup na obetimi di ya qualify out of group stage senior di ye nko kata na e ko ye no sa no di ye we qualify e be san ye. He does not have that experience to take us to the next level. That is where the problem is. So like Adeseka yesterday now for ye Tanta Hooks so sitting on Tanta Hooks. It was so bad though. Say, young can come on can crunch and make a catch ball like a boy and run and you fit. Hey, Malu or guy be a funny camera only Dumbaya. I'm take you over midfield, no more shot passes, long passes. No more spread the ball, the cough flanks or na interpositional play ni ye Juma, na fe ye boy home no, near chase you shadows. Can you imagine? Senior national team, the Blasters of Ghana, playing against Eagles of Mali at Accra Sports Stadium. Then we were defending first 45 minutes, no shot on target. First 45 minutes, no shot on target. Jordan Ayew, One Semenyo, Obaka say Dada Mebina, Omo Bobo. Jordan Ayew, your boss spreading shot. I'm a ball no move to the left hand side. What will make up a far ball? O far ball no 1-on-1 situation. Diamond player no. O diamond player now creating space no. One will say Kudus Mohammed Abba. Far ball no ma Kudus Mohammed. So when you take position, baby Ojina no. Se ball ne koa 1-on-1 situation. Unim ni beba. Jordan Ayew. Na ni ese chama kuma. E chama nso kra ne say. Jordan Sabe all born a show na fe ye ni film no na ototo ne nsa oto ayampia e wa go prawane so e toto ne nsa to ayampia oto nsa to ayampia kire wan wo ball wa bo any talent a ukita no e so ball na wo bo Ghana Blaster team no one e what talent say o ye ka Blaster team no una ye the most technically gifted player. Blaster team no ye ka technically gifted player. Who Jordan Ayew? Who now ye technically gifted player? Na akuna no jina akuna na captain band bon sa chire bibi sa na ye captain wa go pramano so na kika ho na encourage boys no na from say mo gwen konkom anim na wo momu no as a captain of the side no who shows like Adeseka attitude no go pramano so sa coach no so only confidence only mo obetnya stamping the authority e pull first half out of the game no oyi now to ayampia e chire coach no team e wo hotel na mo kasa na o Jordan wa sore a o free coach say unka se coach o free no to wado one Antoine Semenyo o bobo Bournemouth against Liverpool. Say 2 goals. Season way. How many goals no I say? Man of the match I know I do English Premiership. Nene. Enra ujina Accra Sports Stadium. A ball show us Sabeta fragile. Hey! Boys when you the Omoko World Cup. Ghana, you needy boys are on Wakuma. A down man so. This is in your Benjamin Asari. One number one. One when not number one. Reflex, composure, kicks, timing, movement of the ball, commanding. Commanded boys, they kept the boys on their toe for 90 minutes. A hallmark of a quality goalkeeper. Solid display. He also say or command will go post him and the goal post belongs to him. Once na no command Salisu no or command Jiku. I says, oh boy, yes, Monaco. Ah, now Bob and Obono. Only Dubai about one-on-one situation now. No man back hilly ball no. I flip ball and my pass. Player back hilly ball or back hilly ball the beton you know. Oh, time a player na sa flippy ball no. And sign na what rational. Oh man is space. I'm where you're comfortable with the ball. How about World Cup qualify? I will need say almost $9 million qualification keke. Hey, your boys know. As I say, a new munya kasa chrepa. And yes, I am a calling Sansa Saban in Sansa. The crane make a chrem team way. Hey, Benjamin Asari solid. Calibranchi or net technically good. But one or your tactical player and or your effective. Calibranchi solid. Me my first time I mean who and he wasn't bad. Playing his first game. His second game, he wasn't our class person, he wasn't bad at all. And one word I pair word home. Okay, Han said this up. Nagana or boy be or Salka 04, our German Bundesliga game, or the ball Germany 2006 World Cup, or ball South African 2010 FIFA World Cup. And so near friend Hans Edu Sape. One said they are not effective, no, or no on chain, or no on court, or no on back. But then the position no won't mean you ho and fire attacking blasters of Ghana. Hans do sape. Sana calipranchi or you effective or jina what is a bema. But then me only say the performance will show you know that guy should not be starting for blasters of Ghana. I say your first right back. At least as so deputizing my your obey your first right back no na my bench no and strong Gideon Mensah like a Jessica attitude on the field of play as a ball no mbo as a ma mbo on fan kon anim Salisu Bobo Jiku. The only thing that he did yesterday was putting the ball into the net. Jiku center back there you come with presence. Oh center back you need not to be exceptional or extraordinary good biao. Come with presence. Ma strike and fellow presence. No one so big in anachi. Share. No one shall Masiniga. One shall Dankoma. One shall Safu Jamfino. Eh? One shall Sami Kufo. One shall Stephen Tatania Jemendiano. One shall John Terry no. Rio Ferdinand. Nimanja Vidic no. Palo Maldini no. Lisandro Nesta no. Costa Cuta no. Cannavaro no. On Brema Gina Wachi. So I just here. Fabio Cannavaro. She. Nimanja Vidic. Obekum wo wie man san no do aba be dufem. One pie wuti wo wie mu a 50-50 ball na ball ne flip course ro no. Oni ni fish ru be du we no. Na wo da fam na wo mini na wo na mi no apage wu. The hallmark of a quality center back. And to strike an eba next time on himself bema we chiri ho. Yesterday, our boys, they were not on top of the game. Now, the brightest spot our field in the show, apart from Benjamin Asare, Kwesi Zibu, yesterday, hey, top notch. Or should I say, you're not a replica of Michael Essien. Onimbo Dikra, and Onimbas ma, very calm, or you're relaxed. Also, the only Thomas type party on combination solid. Yesterday, I was so impressed with the Dansoman boy. Or a typical Dansoman boy. Or a typical Dansoman boy. The senior brother boy, Liberty Professional. Your friend is Simon Zibu or Portugal. I said this year no movie called Hungry. Way or Spain. Or Boss La Liga. Real Avio. And you see, hey, timing or physical presence. Chamali boys no Dumbaya ni Kamara or no more midfield ho. No akami game no ajebo no ama pass. No akami game no ajebo no ama pass. And the money for the guys are more shiny say boy ben ye no FIFA yanti ni dinda. That is Kwesi Zibo no. But ya dango pe na wa Dansoman. What no bet na no Cheetah FC. Quality by our standard. And yesterday I felt Thomas Partey, the presence, so kind of long passes, no, now your ball Arsenal, no. I dear back now on Jana, men penny, the tackling. Partey know how to seize the ball, take the ball from you, and son of my pass. But I know Jai said Jumani Mazibu, into your ball by 70 minutes, no, Nazibu wa bre no tebre. Samenyo, Kudus Mohammed, Jordan Ayew, Kudus dear. Kudus, you are better than what you did yesterday and what you did in Chad. You can do much more. But then, men criticize you, there is more room for improvement. And now, who said now, telepathic understanding, no, a need between central midfield and the attacking lineup, no, into more attackers, no, the better. And I'm coach, no, so no, wabong, hey, Sabata Frache, or to add wabong keke. Coach our bumper where I scout or to add a Juma or yen. Na me Reggie met me 10 times and they are saying you to add way. Oh, what back our Ghana has he and name rib. Look at this 1992 one 3 back. But at this one what back. Gossip the Senna one what back or Ghana has he. Na ya bobo promga. I support me now stadium. Also about back a defender. Da braka. Adabraka otuado. Adabraka otuado. Uncroft no. So moon mouth proper advisor. See me, near make a no. Once a son, and finia yen hoa. Yabapam. So about what back. Our Ghana has a. You're lining up in Peniphobia. And no more across post stadium more. You're new bedding como. Randy Kobnapoku every year. A top notch, a senior guy or football as here. Why juvenile football from Kumase? Randy dear, Menana yet so be any Lechiba. And in terms of football, you can't take anything away from him. Or a solid. He was at Accra Sports Stadium. Good evening, Mr. Kobnapoku. Come on. That is I hope say bibi awoko. And when we walk across post stadium by as I intimi anya time and link komo ye. Chemi and across post stadium blasters and your friend is a Mali game no. But your body tough chemi wa be say na hu game no in terms of atmosphere. Field so your boys now who keka National Sports Authority or Moniamaye Ministry of Youth and Sports Ghana Football Association minimum so game that year and we on top of it into pacho yetie for mutie omashi TV any radio no pacho so obet be about the tofa kaka na wa ma yam huseni ani amakoye
Reggie you read our senior akonya omashi TV so any radio so na sari and right share stadium is will be a crowd, be our purpose. No, the general so can see a pie, you cost stadium, no, and they say they are Black Stars able. But the stadium this will be quite. He's looking at a bundle of experience in Tiamani, the cost stadium, and in your mind, so could be free on. Mind you, football, not a region, I as much as a business, entertainment, and this will be called or Nigerian and say he wants to be entertained. TMSI won't say. Bundle of goods and our services or provide them and no any no as to say it's mimiti standard na and I say and your mass will be cost stadium as experience or be pray on be nyana inti mesha say if you say those kind no NSC Meka se mebo o mabaso but anyoma bibiri o no ma ya ono na pound for so mo ye kan wona experience ni improve se me hu sense san kakra ba se na first ticket ni handle tie no omo person omo san go back bi no handheld tickets no multimedia system na he say na no ye chance say ye online no cause online came with a lot of challenges na see nya abo training e de ko kakra na we so a very big match in tin omo san really handheld no e provide designated places I'll be to me at top. Until you go Independence Square, I'll be to me and your ticket in then you walk through nicely barricaded place. I'll be Nantimunaba. yeah, but the way to me, I do only be a council, I get in the Mura, gates, I be any nation, gate in the Mura challenges, ticketing, the Mura Kitier, and near Munioma be bringing small chrono, a cost. Meaning, I and Yoma be a Migidi say, what shall see on any a pound for any year now, Mum said it will be costed you, Marcos, even maybe the Omoma, maybe the Omo girlfriends, maybe the Omo fiancés, or looking at blaster, a lot of atmosphere and at the stadium near farm on entertainment, being film tunes or the sound kakrabai, said a bebo edging janko for Ubioko Kibab, Ubisoko Popcorn, it's a bundle of experience. And as to be stadium, my Oshe, aside Sabor and Ancasanos of Basso. We are no free China, Yamra arrangements internally inside. Metiaka say any journalist for Zibia, a Conanima, almost would do better. To park and so ban meetings the time on Bezo photography, Yama teams, they were virtually in front of the team, and those at the bench. It was a bit uncomfortable. Seeing in a area in a near improving Abrofono. Players in stay a bit away, Kakra, press in stay a bit away, Kakra, no more to make maybe be fine. Ain't he in arrangement wise, make us there's room for improvement. It's a whole experience. No, because stadium, I'll pay security center saying, will be Roma, if you know, any or Kofa gates, maybe to maybe we account 190. In the whole, the atmosphere and the setup. NSC from a more angle, provide my meeting, like I said, is an improvement. But I was said, to me, a man, bros, because who took wine and now call neighboring countries near other places now, Kosha Bola, a big game to say World Cup qualifier, FIFA standard category A match is saying now, a standard no arrangement, no sui into yen to me, Casa Monia, your double money and say, Puntu, the corner, Nimna Assa, near to me. And he said, I can, who free and also 1 hour back game, no proper. Like say, we started from the back foot. Coach Nankas after game, no so in the press and here. But he was deliberate in his attempt and in approach or the back game, no so. You move be no your car park and so near antenna see is a coachy. Yeah, boy, across sports stadium, your history near pedigree on a World Cup qualifier. Ghana, you lose twice, so I want to celebrate on and cry a pen or bossy. And the last time, so to your friends in Liberia, our George Upon we are near Eddie Omoba Kumasi, across sports stadium, where share.
And that particular game, no George Rie, and yet George Riao, George Rie, no, WREH. Ono nya sa goal at the ma Liberia.
On the same any free rock on any Yada Martin. We've only lost twice in the World Cup qualifier. And the World Cup qualifiers, no any games here. Ghana suffer years. History is behind us, especially to going in September. So in your time you lose because it's open data now. The football and not necessarily superstitions. Nina plays a big game. Playing against Mali is not a side to be out to me say auntie. Now mean him say what happened in Chad, no. Now you're buying to this game and we're going to be on the front foot. Now you start here flat four directly near starting, but you set up now, you Salisu excellent. Only Juku they've been paired for a very long time. Teams is once a build up, no, those are the things that you need, a bit of consistency. The player winning a young Kwan Bacha. That telepathy is there, they can coordinate together and work. But me who and I the Jonas Ajita the Kawaman 3. Into profiling enemy who say left back, Gideon Mensah starting right back. Your friend say Calibri and Chile start to and it's not maybe players in the profile. We should be just a Calibri and Cha or ordinarily no a central midfielder. Into me who know one more attack if it wasn't bad to Bananka Minya or be to say I who over and over it's a Toric Lamte I know any trademarker or to me win back play anymore because it's a bit more offensive. Nanka anybody me picture the young man who say coach no had set up to do what to be on the front foot. But me who say na Calib Nebo and other side Gideon Mensah Nebo me person who say you're trying to be a bit more conservative. Say me na se me new opportunities now, then I will take it on. Now also Abamedo so na repair na inya Thomas Partey, undoubtedly one of our best players for some time now. Until a woman with an experience, it was solid. I knew he was going to give his best. Kumasi ni Abrante Sibo Susunya opportunity. A very massive game, and a debut game. Which I can say he seized the opportunity and he did his best. There's room for improvement. There are times and it's football or pick passes maybe now. He was active, he was moving in good spaces, his tackling were on point. In the for a player any debut, what he gave us was wonderful. It's commendable. Won't to make us say it was so bad like that, because it's a massive game and we needed a good results and we throw him up like that because he's had a wonderful time with the Real Oviedo and he seized the opportunity. Like I said, it was good. In front of them was at least more or less our best player now in the country, Mohamed Kudus. But me, Meka Charles Akwesi, Reggie, yesterday's game is one of the best games that Kudus has had in a Blaster JC. Oshaya. Most of the time, anytime he was on the ball, he was very, very good and enterprising. At times, we lose ball and now say lose possession or run it back, ever press it. And Timeka said, no idea. It was one of the best games Kudus had. Though so one should go and now say be a Bibiamba Gidi, but no idea. He gave his all and the form now. They were Tottenham, no. It translated into the game yesterday. Meka said Jordan Iñaki said almost struggle, you can't blame them a lot because of setup.
Jordan and Semenyo.
Jordan and Semenyo struggled a bit, but you cannot blame them because of how we set out to play. I was thinking that directly coach will be on the front foot, but hey, and some of the will be, I can say, the first say we know, and one will be a now, over coaching, so a lot of people had recourse to complain at the stadium. Coaching, say, but maybe it's now on the BIA only very, very purposeful about what you need. Then I set out to do, and we wanted to win the game, and you win here. And mostly, football, there's a set out in a win. BBN will be my way there, which can be because coach, they are pointing in your KPIs. Key performance index. Edit to woman and say, coach, you say you're qualified to World Cup, you say you're qualified to AFCON. So we say we AFCON and Kui Poto. But the bar World Cup games, I could see Regime Bisa we deliver now on deliver. We deliver. What I say, he's on the verge of qualifying us. And then any yastic, and then any KPIs are signing on as a contract. And see, so no will be signing a questioner. He was emphatic. He would tell you that he's not afraid. If we say or sign a contract, you say on fire, Uncle World Cup. You would have recourse to discuss issues about how he played, how he set out to play. Everybody will have their opinion. But when he had the opportunity to address the press, he tells her that he on one case or share that Omunya try to be on the back foot to defend very well and take their chances. And today he said 3 points in order my. Said me can ubi abe kana bona nyefe oma muni na yansunu gujem ye kikam ye hu de ekọ. That is how football is. But the first say you sign a coach ni on say on there on qualify na or on course or be qualify na dey. Go na go attorney na win na ba na dey. Me mpese me dem hu be kwa akose side wa kwa akọ cause he signed on to a contract. Register one baby am free ba no.
Perfect.
Contracts and also man opportunity say do this that for us. And he said when you win on course I don't want to dwell so much on issues about fair born in fair. The contract was signed yes on fine because or you could draw na say be and paying for adwene say system ni bibia ye nyina ya ba it is Ghana ye nyina in football and so comfort you be aka na adwene or your substitution or pick later. I was so much happy about Joseph Penson there because anytime a branch any opportunity be to play for the Blasters, he has proved beyond doubt time and time again say he's a quality player, an opportunity it was not much of a time, like 10 minutes. You won rounds, ability to hold the ball, ability to keep the ball and move around in spaces. Though there was a clear chance, and I'm hearing me say, and Kobe to me ask a ball on the right. Ama Iñaki was true on goal. I heard you beat me. Same too again on Kamal. So Kamal Sulemana had the opportunity time and time again. He's not a bad player. He's very tricky on the ball, but maybe I am not finishing. No, I a bit more suspect. I think there is room for improvement. Honestly, call you opportunity now. Go to me square. But so what's your one thing about the sanity? Only different. Only more on pray aspires or meeting the best. And Timeka said, say Brady in your own guns. The fact said Otuado sign a contract to qualify us to the World Cup and it's still on course. You might not have so much recourse to complain. Until you drew on a qualifying here, bigger handler and in some more than of course. Mind you, he's been at the World Cup before. And Koyes and who say I'm what they need in your coffee technical advice abekano. Maybe you do only do so your mayor so say you get closer to the World Cup. Yen you never want to woman who say, said you come 4 years ago in yampe. But I see a poor and in some more there. That discussion and that conversation can be had. But for now, dear, or signing on so qualify a World Cup. I said, I call our coach exams now passing our cousin and sign on your face. The fact that he's delivering, he signed on to qualify us and he's still on course. Let's wait for it and see what comes out of it. Because everyone will have recourse to see anything. But the first one here few and here few 3 points now here, they believe forget others know in the group. He had the thing.
Okay, Kwabra.
Reggie.
In fact, sir, one kasa osha set up now coach the buyer. Now share ball our boys never boy. Say a better geo. But baby, I will feel by no one tears in football mono. Ofu sir, though we had a 3 maximum, we got a 3 maximum point. Were you satisfied with the boys this time?
Almost output, input, output. It's a starting game now. Who said we starting from the back foot now. You about 3 central defenders, and again 2 wing backs are ordinarily and profile wise. No, omunyo call when him say they be attackable, and I say they be another left back. Be ball, calling power enterprise. You know, say is an attacking wing back. No, he answer up, and mind you, tactics wise, no, double pivot, Pate and Sibu, which means to say you are consuming saying. Who the keeper can one? You're consuming 7 of the players already. And the opposing team, no, anytime behind the 2 center backs, no, they will step forward. Because they have only 1 player to do. They will step forward and pile up on the midfield to exert pressure on you. And the coach, I think, with Bibi Awabo do any Bibi Awaye do the coaching do Oma Wananti or Masi, any all the other technical teams knew about all those things. That again. The fact say you would want to play 3 back with wing backs or when you 2 enterprise and you will be playing on the back foot anytime be opponent they will have a lot of the ball and you have to be behind the ball and defend more. And I had a lot of trouble with it. Say be our number one but we need buy and after the ball game new year now journalists had the opportunity to ask questions. We be he was truthful and bold that they set out to be defensive because they knew that they were going to suffer. And we be say etomu dia obi ani gino coach no etoma nani agino cause we be can say o share da and o hwehwe any team that way enti said the Ghana pe any said the any DNA boy any said obi ani say Ghana attacking with a lot of flair no so what is stance ni mu a enya dia woni beji pi sa ana mekura meso mani anji pi sa anka minya ya Ismail and it is Ghana we hardly lose World Cup qualifier until let's play, let's open up, let's show them because there's too much quality to achieve what we have. But here again, and yemi mini coach who are any different. Ain't no on their high number now. And I was signing the KPIs on the contract. Yes, qualify and you were not much interested in say your kobobo on amanayefe. Ain't he say we should be a free banner the tia siena ubia to me china doing differently. But ejumano onya opportunity say on kasa o try say no pay say o hwehwe team ni sa no bonus na nti register na metumi aka
well kwabna enanwumre wo wada boshi ofefe better o educate wo o to call efe your friend Randy Kwabna Poku we madam for no menen na see so fi yankura brave and menen na ye footballer check from Corners babies and then na se force ebedu baby because abeboa asamoajan ono any some esesame anim ado ana no mukita asamoajan na omude ebedu baby omude. In terms of football dear, you can't take anything away from Randy Kwadrapuku or the footballers here equally say we share that etie one of the biggest station APC FM almost all the time no on it me say Dankwaku Yeboa and here ewo show me say fene Randy Kwadrapuku ono anso na o ye presenter edema GTV Sports Plus so we share GTV Sports Plus ono aye one guy na in terms of inchichimu and the laws of the game and then as no no on top of it you better not see any so no so eje bre na otimi ni mbedi nkomo so kakra in fact wakasa yie and ohwe enra your boys the performance ewo game no ono so aba be che na dwen opani ba ko nso a me pese ono so be che na dwen ewo game a your boy enra any senior me amakoye former Bron Ahafo Regional Football Association chairman your friend Mr. Lawyer Raf Jambra Jambra on also our ahumane so omwanya no omo indicate bia ma me se omwanya no good evening council.
Good evening minia
I hope say bibia boko council
o nyame adom bibia boko na mo so e
adom ne mbobro hunu ya da se ye bebo open say ye pese no twetwe nkomo kakra ewo enura ye game e course so Accra Sports Stadium category A match Ghana versus Mali and ohwe senior game ne ko e ni senior ne amaba ya minim say in terms of football no we deep ewo lawyer mbato obetima bon to fa kakra dia mai senior ne amako enura eno we ni o expected on sa na hu no Ghana, are you on the right course?
Well, Mamini can share with you for let me say another game and no, I didn't have the opportunity of watching the first 20-25 minutes because I said okay, getting access to a stadium no inside the night was a bit challenging kakra. It should tell you say indeed a lot of people were hoping say now my support to Ghana somewhere then you're winning. Of course I wasn't surprised. I think I had the opportunity of watching the Malian strain. That was their last training session. And I told a friend I was with the way these guys were hitting the ball just anyhow, it could be very strategic, and that I knew they've planned out exactly how they were going to face Ghana and all that. And so it wasn't very surprising. And indeed, if you know the Malian coach very well, he's one coach who would demand a lot from his players. I think Ghana, for some time now, we've not been very convincing. Indeed, okay, you gave me a boy against Chad before this very one. We're not convincing. And if you look at the materials available to the technical team, and the fact that we came up against Chad and then we could not beat them, it was something that I knew. So once we're coming up against Mali, it was going to be difficult. Remember, the Malians came into the game knowing very well they didn't have a good chance of qualifying, and so they were not under any pressure. And I think that pressure no Ghana saw a lot. And so we needed to put up our A game. Unfortunately, I didn't see that yesterday. And I've always said, sometimes I have a problem. There's a bit to be here players maybe America so players way more Europe maybe or more and all that. You see, when it comes to national team football, different from club football. You see, with club football, day in, day out, you are training with a colleague. You are training under the same manager. And you are playing in a game. So there's always telepathy between players. The coaches are able to implement different formation, different tactical variations in matches and our training grounds. And so sometimes when our boys come here and they don't play the way we see them in Europe. Yeah, we need to be a little bit patient with them, Kaka. I've also set time with that number, say, when they Messi 11 Equatorial football field, so we are likely to lose a match. And I Cristiano Ronaldo, any Messi from one could not pass, so you're again likely to lose again. Now, because the national team, the coaches or the technical team only need the luxury of being with the players day in, day out. What is of importance is cohesion. Cohesion now, between players. I have followed football for a very long time, for over 2 decades, and I can tell you that the reason why I am not in time past some of our national team to be jelly was because we shared the ACM era more, Derek Boateng, they had the opportunity of playing together at the junior national team levels and our progress here.
So there was that telepathic understanding.
Absolutely. Even in the days of the free Kwame Jordan, they played at the national at 20 level, no multimedia day, and the bad true. Oshe da Jaman Badu Rabiu, the day you more so group now, I'm pick here from youth team days now with the buy. And so they've always had that understanding between them. I mean, I once had a conversation with the free where he told me, say, for instance, if Jordan is playing wide on the left, and you want to feed him a passer, because he's played with him for very long, when he began the pass in the bed, the better. If you want to pass into infield, or the better line is on the bed. But if you look at how your current setup in the team now, you realize that we brought together players from different places. We've not had the benefit of having to promote about 5 or 6 players from a youth team into the senior national team. Now, I think one of the things where I affect here game for some time now, the coaches or the technical team are always on the lookout for who is doing well in Europe. If when say a player will turn out 1 or 2 performances here in Europe, now he's deemed as a good player. He has a Ghanaian name. Quickly, we bring him into the national team, and then straight away, I've been one as a starter. I think it's one of the things that I high game because the coaches will not have the luxury of having to train with the players every day. It is important that we keep a core team because our core team needs a telepathic understanding, that kind of cohesion. Of course, so we share when Coach Otuado, and of course in this interview, I'm not seeking to even criticize anybody for your performances in these 2 games. We share the fact that when Coach Otuado made the call up of players of Bebama, Ghana in the doubleheader, the Chad Mali game, because the Sibo was missing. Now, 1 or 2 injuries to some of the midfielders, and then we bring in Sibo. He comes in and straight away, he's in a commanding position. He's never even played in the midfield role with Thomas Partey before. And so, right from the beginning, if you knew, say, you were going to bring in Sibo, then you ought to have done that. He ought to have been the first batch now of Frey, because you bring in Elisha, you bring in Salis, and then your whole thinking was that Salis, Elisha, and Partey, they are at least someone from midfield, Kaka. Then we go to Chad. It didn't pan out the way they are now, open. And again, I don't know whether after Chad came, Salis, Elisha, or injuries, and then straight away we bring in Sibo. He comes in and he starts to partner Thomas Partey in midfield. So on an individual scale, people will say, so, oh, Sibo did well on his debut and all that. But you realize that we game now on the day, Ghana as a unit, we may not have played well because again, it is Partey against Sibo in the midfield for the first time in our careers. They didn't have the benefit of even training together for maybe 2 occasions simple. And so we look at some of these things and I believe it affected a game. Coach Otuado, so long as he continues to be the head coach, I know a lot of people are calling for him to be sacked and all that. Well, I am not the decision maker, but if the top hierarchy of the FA and the management committee believes that he's the right man for the job, together with the assistants, and that's what we're going to go with for now. But I am hoping that he will keep a certain crop of players in it. At least you should have about 15 core beer. Only say 15 core with you. On any day, those are the ones I'm going to fall on. Those are the people who are going to form the starting 11, aiming for the 4 to go onto the bench. So that new boys no more bamuno. They will come, sit on the bench, and get to understand some of these boys. It is over here, Wakasu Mone, Freya Kwamone, Atimabedimo. They had to understand Sule Muntari, Michael Essien, Derek Boateng, Stephen Apiamo, and Co, Antonia Namo. When they came to the national team, they had to understand them. They had to know how a game.
Lawyer, Mincha no where am some pacho. And yes, Nancy, your transition from U17, U20, U23, Ediba last time, and then I collapse a crack. I'm my NCNA sa in Kabumio senior national team. No,
it's a major worry. It's a major worry. You see, the reason why it's a major worry is that okay, yeah, youth team development, and of course, people have said a lot is being done at the youth team level. You see, when you are not producing enough at the youth team level, every year we should be hoping say at least about 1,000 kids will come through or be of top quality. Give and take, if we get about 20 crowd outside, that's it. They will find their way into House of Folk, Kotoko, and the likes. 20 no more go to Europe by virtue of the fact that they are more national under 15, national under 17, U20, and what have you. Or because they played with their colleagues or more telepathic understanding. No? So more call Europe now, so they are more bar. It makes it very easy now. But what I realize here, these days, they're not getting that wholesale promotion of U17 to U20, U20 to U23, and to the senior national team eventually. It has been the case of, yeah, let's comb Europe. Let's see which Ghanaian player there who could be doing well, who bears a Ghanaian name. Me, I found near a national team. So, in terms of even communication, sometimes it's a big challenge because we remember normal through the Spanish block, we remember normal through the English block, we remember normal through the German block, and all of that. So, it is very difficult, Kaka, because again, where they grew up culturally and all that, you know. I mean, everybody has a way of doing in Myanmar. So look at how the Algerians and the Moroccans do this. They don't wait for you to hit the limelight as an Baba Bekacho, so Ube an Arab name. So, I mean, if the country that you grew up in, say Germany, Spain, and what have you, if they are rejecting you, then we are ready to be taken in. They are able to monitor in Kolano when they start playing. I mean, for you look at someone like Hakim Ashraf, and then you realize there was absolutely no way he could not have played for the Spanish national team. But the Moroccans are sure, they say, oh yeah, Kolano or Madrid, now they're heading, the neighbor, the Moroccan national team. So their case is a bit different. But I think it's always been the case of they reject no more Europe or no any other places, you know. On mum they form so many day. On mum remember the senior national team by virtue of the fact that they have Ghanaian lineage. I think it's something that should be of concern. And I'm not saying once in a while you cannot find players born in Europe more Ghanaian lineage who may be willing to play for the senior national team. But we must also look at it from the angle if we are able to produce more and we'll be able to export more. And that boys now export more. Today we are clamoring for Sibo. Remember just Enroy he was playing for Cheetah. And so again, some of our premiership clubs and Division 1 clubs, they've not done a lot in terms of grooming the right talent and getting them to Europe. It's always been the Division 2s and the Division 3 and the juveniles, you know. I mean, try some produce when Parma was producing parties and Moses Ojemone, Pencil and Co. I mean, sometimes no about Division 1, it be about Premier. But you see, his focus or he had a philosophy of trying to groom young players and getting them to Europe. And most of the time, so now the boys have an opportunity playing for the national team. A free aqua girlfriend, they had the opportunity of playing for junior national teams before us and transfer to Europe. And so when they get opportunity to come back and play for the national team, they already have telepathy, or they have already played with some of their colleagues at the junior national team levels and are home free Europe. So communication wise, culturally and all that, it becomes very easy for them to build that kind of cohesion. Like I said, today I will not go into as to whether the technical team now we have at the Blasters, whether they are up to the task or not. And again, like I said, sometimes you do not even need 11 Messi or 11 Cristiano Ronaldos. You can still do with average players, so long as the coaches know what they are about, so long as they can build a unit out of the players from here, there, or more. Okay, the Malian team that played against Ghana and Ra, player for player, I don't think that they are ahead of the Black Stars. But you see, it is because their coach or the technical team have been able to put together a team which understands themselves, and that is how come indeed playing at Accra Sports Stadium for the first time, they could play so well. You saw how normal string of passes together. They felt at home. At some point in time, one player, like I said, Mali Mum the home team, no, because for the greater part of the second half, they pinned us down, and I'll give it to the Ghanaian coaches. At some point in time, they did changes in the upfront. People have had issues with why they had to take out the experience Jordan Ayew, Mohamed Kudus, and Antoine Semenyo, and then brought in Joseph Pencil, Kamadou Sulemana. For Kamadou Sulemana, I just keep saying that he needs more support from us, because for me, Doku at Manchester City is no better than Kamadou Sulemana. Of course, I mean, if it comes to finishing some of balls, Nibia Onyana, it's been his bane. But I think that kid also needs a lot of support from us. When Inaki came on, you realize that these were players who could stretch the Malian defense into the Omoba, we resorted to the long balls. The long balls because Pencil is pacey, Kamadin is pacey, same can be said of Inaki. So it was at that point in time that you see a couple of counter-attacks and unfortunately we could not finish off. So I think these are the kind of players we have at the moment, and so it is important for the coaches to keep them and to try and build on them. But and then sometimes some players get called up to the national team and you ask yourself, where are they been playing? Who are they? I mean, and all that. I don't think that as a man the senior national team people must sweat, people must understand it before they get to. Of course, there will be situations where you have someone who is exceptionally brilliant, or no big mama be red team. But I think we've made it too easy for people to come from behind and walk into the team. As you said, it is just any team. We don't even have quality in it.
Cancer, your time, lady. As soon as I was our last question. The mamma 1 minute with the answer, mammy. And your time, sir. A brandy friend of Majid Ashimiru and the Barbara man. Your new ambassadors and your 2 on South from the Blaster.
Well, if you ask me, yes, I think for Gideon Mensah, he's been very disappointing. I mean, I do not think that Gideon Mensah is an upgrade of Baba Rahman. I mean, if you tell me Baba is ahead of Gideon Mensah. I said, Baba issue had to do with the fact that Campano Fria Oba and the fact that he put in a couple of poor performances. So, Ghanaians said, so they Gideon Bra. I don't think they Gideon Bra has been an upgrade of Baba Rahman. Same can be said of Ashmeru. I don't know why he was not handed a call up this time around. I don't know whether it was due to injury or not. But like I said, you have to continuously have some of these boys in the team, because one of my boy around with Thomas Partey and co, and that's not telepathy they say there were them. I think it is important that if we think that Gideon Mensah is not an upgrade of Baba, and Baba is willing to come in, then of course we must bring him back to the team. As Meru, he's demonstrated time with that number, said a link-up play between the defense of Ghana and the attacker. He is our ball carrier. He's the one person who is able to put in those piercing passes, who is able to carry the ball on his own to feed the attackers now on which we died and we don't seem to have a lot of those boys in the team. Sibo is a defensive midfielder, Thomas Partey is DM, Elisa is DM, Salis is DM, and so it becomes difficult when you have all of these players around who are unable to, carry the ball to the forward liners to finish off. And that is why Majida Shimero is someone who is very, very key to the success of the Black Stars. It is important that we keep a very, close monitoring of him to ensure that all material times he stays fit so the national team and the clubs with many and so far so.
Council, and then you tear for tear Omashi TV, our Moshe Omashi TV, Omuti Omashi Radio, our Moshe Omashi TV, no, so no. Many of me say, Yadawase. So, wait me in your time when you're bread, now watch church near me, Eddie Achray, oh, your Jumedi, so. And then you may Tuesday near your friend a Punchline. Inti at the time be your Benyamre near Bebody Browns, a Bebody Apneons, so no. Your poucho now a G and so now near tea for near chef for no. I say near Usudi, Pacho.
But that's also to us a friend. That's I mean, come on.
That's it. Where lawyer Raf Jambra. Lawyer Raf Jambra. You come and say Jambra. What if you want to check ye pa one or Bogofe Donsa, Madam Fo. No Palermo, or Vicenza, Ecobo, Wikakra, Italy, or Bo Richmond Wachi Yadom. I find Kwame Fish, and also Nipelea no, a free year aqua, and also Nipelea no. So nim or players be Padam no Portugal and Nomene Iliasu Rabiu Mohammed so many players in terms of player today you can't take anything away from lawyer Rap Jambra Omashi one so ana one the punchline and mede ebre mono show no the time no aswan sa. But then there is a World Athletic Championship be a basso. So World Athletic Championship we know. Ghana for at least we know almost me qualify. Which is almost your money about the World Athletic Championship. No, I say no more kwa hesing and yama a bisifa ako edi amount. So Osha 100 meters now. Omo be represented among Ghana ewo hono. You are brand you be a friend Abdul Rashid. Saminu on the Benjamin Azamati, number represented Ghana. That is World Athletic Championship. Tokyo 2025. Abdul Rashid Saminu, Benjamin Azamati, number represented Ghana. 100 meters race. You about 200 meters. Your Ibrahim Fuseni, number represented Ghana. 200 meters. No. You got 800 meters. Alex Amankwa on the represented Ghana. And you got 4 by 100 meters relay. No, so your Abdul Rashid Samino, Benjamin Azamati, Ibrahim Fuseni, Barnabas Aga, Anna Joseph Paul Amwa, Mustafa Alofa, Backings. Number represented Ghana. 4 by 100 meters relay. Mustafa Alofo, Backpins, Joseph Amwa, Barnabas Aga, Ibrahim Fuseni, Benjamin Azamati, and I branch a fellow, Abdul Rashid Saminu. You call high jump and so on. Your Oba and the represented Ghana. Your fellow Rose Amwanima Yaboa. Rose Amwanima Yaboa. You did not say Usha or ya a typical dancing. So Tidin Amwanima. I say Ofi a dance in career one. Also, all call dance in career. They call Biposo Hodom Lai Honomono. So one Mampontain one in career one ya. Omo toto said no omo near from Kwabre time ana ye ni Kumasi Asante region no near Okwaman and Kwabre nti omo no me Kwabre fo no so ati ase kwa manfo no na oba anim ho no mo a omo ye adwiso asafo amokom so ho omo no mo ye kwa manfo no so ati ase nti Rose amwadi mo a ye boa ono no be represent Ghana e high jump World Athletic Championship Tokyo 2025 next week yani ba ofiseni ono ya president Edma Ghana Athletics Association ebe twetwe nkomo kakra na ono nso e kire yen senior omo preparation and senior niama eko ediama athletes enso e wo Ghana and there will be championship coming on this Friday and Saturday at the boxing arena. It's about to watch Bawo Bali and Abrantia Feno Padiki and Bawo Bali coming Friday at the Bokum Boxing Arena. Ebafe Bay back and I mean Danishi Mofiamo no Nabi no Kakwami Mofiamo no Ubu Tuehu Kege Efia Dabushi ake una time no Kabu no Okono. The punchline Ninke Bahanye you mashi TV no Jerry Ashon Leji in producer Kobe Leji chief technician ko te engine room le yo gen le ke machine sure can be ke yaya ke cameraman ne fe minda mofia moshi bekene twa umanyaba
TV ajatwengme kemenhye